Hey everybody, God bless, and I always start looking around and stuff. God bless. It's a good day. I was just wanting to put this on. It's been going through my head for a little bit and stuff. I wanted to talk a little bit about the uh, the Brave 300. Now I know a bunch of people have seen the Zack Snyder film 300. Uh, you know, about the brave King Leonidas and his stand against the Persian army, right? With only 300 warriors with him and stuff, right? So today we're not going to talk about that 300. We're going to talk about another brave man. Uh, the Bible called him a mighty man. He was a brave. Uh, what did it say? Brave warrior, I believe, is what the angel called him. Uh, his name was Gideon, right? There was one day that he was stealing wheat and grinding it in secret, right? Now a bunch of Bible teachers teach that it was that he was just a scared man in the dead of the night and stuff. But what I don't agree with that interpretation, right? Because then that would mean that the angel who came lied when he said brave man, right? I believe that he was a brave man because he was in occupied territory. It tells us that the enemy was taking all of their wheat, all of their gain, and using it for their armies and stuff, right? And so Gideon was basically an insurgent, man. He was coming in and he was stealing back to feed his people and stuff, right? The dead of the night, knowing that he could be killed, knowing that if he was spotted, it's possible that his family would be killed, right? Knowing that he could get caught, but all he knew was that he had a job to do for his people, and he wasn't about to let his people, he wasn't about to let his family starve, and so he was doing whatever it took, right? And so anyways, he got this calling. Well, in this calling, God said he was going to raise up this army, right? And the army was going to defeat the enemy. He was going to send them packing. It was time for them to get out of Israel. It was time for the Jews or the Israelites to be set free, right? And so, anyways, this whole story was going through my head, but there was one part in particular that got me. See, God started talking to him, and he said, I want you to line up the people. I believe there was 100 and some odd thousand warriors in the enemy's camp, right? And he said, go ahead and call the people and line up your armies. And I think there was like 32,000 of them. And God said, you know what? That's too many. You know, with 32,000, the Israelites might be lifted up with pride thinking, man, we did such a good thing, man. We're really something, because with 32,000, we put to flight 100 and maybe 120,000, something like that. I can't remember the exact number, right? So he's like, we got to whittle this down. Anybody who's scared, you know, he had these things. Well, finally, he came down and he said, okay, I want you to go to the river, right? These people were hungry. They hadn't been eating very well for a while and stuff, right? And he took all these people down to the river. They were thirsty. They'd been, going through exercises, whatever, right? Going through the march and stuff. And when they got there, they were just dying of thirst, right? And so he said, I want you to mark two types of people. I want you to mark the ones who go and start lapping water up like a dog, right? And he said, I want you to set them aside. And then the ones who drink the water, on bended knee, I want them to be set aside. And he said, the only ones that I'm going to use are the ones that lapped up water like a dog, right? And that's kind of a weird thing, right? Because, some of them, they were scooping up the water and they were drinking it, right? But these people were going up, and they were so thirsty. They were just so overtaken by thirst that they're just slamming their head down. They're scooping it up. They're licking it, like a dog and stuff like that, right? Which looks really undignified. And you might look and say, man, these people have no composure, And God said, that's who I'm going to use. That's who I'm going to use to set Israel free. And I want to tell you, man, as I was sitting there praying and I was thinking about it, God said those are the ones that I'm going to use. The undignified ones. The ones that aren't worried so much about what everybody else thinks. See, these other ones, they were going and they were drinking up water and stuff because they have these this pretense. They're always worried about what other people are going to think about it. Man, I'm dying of thirst right now, right? And we understand that there's one, Jesus said that if you asked of him, he would give you water and you would never thirst again, right? So we know that there's this living water that Jesus has for us, right? But then there's these people that are coming up and they're drinking it, and it's like, you know what? I'm worried about what my friends are going to think, or I'm worried about maybe what my family's going to think. If I really give into this whole thing, I'm going to be overtaken by it and stuff, right? And so as he was choosing them out, right? As he was choosing them out, then he looked for the ones that were not given over to pretense. He looked for the ones that were so thirsty, and they knew that there was one thing that could quench the thirst, and they went and they started drinking like they didn't even care at all about what was going on. All they cared about is that they were quenching that thirst and stuff, right? And so once again, those are the people that God's going to start using in this time. Right? The ones that aren't worried about what everybody else is going to think. They're not worried about their tie not being straight. They're not worried about their clothes not getting pressed. All they know is that they need Jesus Christ. All they know is that they need to get closer to Jesus Christ, and whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes to increase their faith, right? Then they're going to do that, right? When they're in worship, they're not worried about what the person next to them thinks, man. They're going to lift up their hands and they're going to start praising God because they know that they need that. They know that they need to get closer to God because they're thirsty for it. They're dying of thirst for it. And if they don't quench that thirst, man, then they might just dry up and blow away, right? And so they're reaching out with everything that they have to get a hold of God, right? Those are the ones that are going to be making waves. They're going to set people free in this day and age, right? The ones that aren't covered up with pretenses, the ones that are undignified, right? Just like John the Baptist, who came, a woolly man, came running out of the wilderness, right? Clothed in camel hair, right? Eating bugs, eating locusts and wild honey, right? And he came out yelling, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." And even Jesus said about him, he said, "You know what? Were you looking for a guy in nice clothing? Right? No, they're in Jerusalem. No, you came looking for a prophet, and of all the prophets, none is better than John the Baptist." This guy wasn't worried about his looks. He wasn't worried about his status. He wasn't worried because he was the son of a high priest. He had status. He could have had status. He went into the wilderness to get alone with God, and when he got that message from God, he came and actually started rebuking the priesthood of the time. That's the priesthood that his dad belonged to. He looked at him and said, "You brood of vipers. Who warned you to flee the wrath that's to come?" Right? He wasn't worried about his status. Right? He wasn't worried about his job, right? Some of us are like, man, I can't talk about Jesus right now because maybe the people in my job, maybe they won't like it. Maybe I'll lose a promotion. Maybe whatever. Maybe somebody will be upset and stuff. God said the people that are going to set people free today, right, in this day and age, are the ones that are undignified, the ones that don't care. They know they need Jesus. They know there's one hope. They know that there's one life. They know that there's one way, and that's through Jesus Christ. And they're going to do whatever they can to get closer to Jesus Christ, right? Whatever it takes, right? They're going to do crazy things. They're going to feel like God is telling them to do something, and so they'll do it. And maybe it might make them look like a fool, right? But even Paul said, if we're fools for Christ's sake. If we're sober, it's for everybody else's sake, right? But we're gonna do whatever it takes, right? We might walk out there just like the prophets. There was one prophet that God told him to put on a girdle, right? That's some weird stuff, right? Another one, he told him to lay on his side all year long, right? Okay, crazy stuff, right? But God said those are the ones that are going to set the captives free in this day and age, the undignified ones. And so I'm here to encourage all of y'all. Just like Jesus said about John the Baptist, he said, since the days of John the Baptist, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. Right? So today, I want to encourage everybody, man, reach out, push into God, look for God, do whatever it takes, even if you got to act a little bit crazy, even if you have to, you might seem like people are going to think I'm a lunatic, they're going to think I'm extreme, whatever, run after it, do it, because the kingdom of heaven is coming, right? The kingdom of heaven is here. It's now, it's within you, and the whole world is dying without it. So God bless y'all, and y'all have a great day.